A how-to guide to conduct independent field research for societal platform missions. This presentation is to supplement the detailed version of the guide and give a gist of what it contains. We start with understanding the objectives of the guide. The guide is intended to enable societal platform missions to develop a quick, moderate understanding of the ground reality with respect to user adoption of routine changes which are envisioned by the mission. The belief is that routine changes contribute to the eventual desired behavior change in participants. The guide is designed to be practical and useful for professionals with no or minimal background in research working for societal platform missions. The guide is particularly beneficial in providing a systematic approach to research with step-by-step inputs across different phases of research. Before getting into the how-to of the guide, it is important to have clarity on what do we mean by routine changes. Routine changes are seen as small +1 changes users adopt in their usual way of doing a certain activity. These changes add up and lead to a new routine or behavior or habit. For example, in a platform like Diksha, which gives access to digital content, a routine change you might be able to see is teachers teaching students using digital content on smart TVs instead of writing on a board. One more critical thing that needs to be understood is the parameters that will help us assess the adoption of routine changes, as these parameters will guide us in the research process. Access, affordance, and acceptability are seen as parameters based on the assumption that routine change among users is an effect of the platform being accessible, affordable, and acceptable for users. We now move to the how-to part of the guide on how the research can be conducted. Research processes are generally organized into different phases. In this guide, we suggest 3 phases: pre-visit, visit, and post-visit. The 3 phases will help to have a continuous cycle of planning and action. The research process starts with the pre-visit phase, the phase before getting to the field. This phase contains 8 steps. The first step is about getting the background information that you deem necessary for the research. The second step is about developing an understanding of the societal platform mission, its programs, and solutions. The third step is about developing questions to guide the research. And the fourth step is about defining the area of study in terms of focus areas and assessment parameters. The fifth step, developing a research plan, is one of the most important steps in the entire research process. The research plan is broadly about defining the questions you would like to answer through the research and how you would like to do it. It covers a range of subjects from methodology to sampling to analysis and so on. The next step, secondary research, is primarily a desk-based research process, except for some interviews and conversations with relevant people depending on the context. Once you're done with the plan and secondary research, present your research plan to the people who have tasked you with the research to get their inputs and feedback, and revise the plan accordingly. The final step of the pre-visit phase is to develop content to execute your research plan in the field. For example, preparing questions for interviews, designing activities, and so on. The next phase is the visit phase. The visit phase is all about the primary research. Apart from executing the research plan on the field, it involves 2 actions to get the best possible outcomes from the field visit. First is to analyze the information gathered on a daily basis in order to ensure relevance to the research questions that you have developed. The second is about revising and refining the field research plan if the required information is not coming through in the existing research process. The final phase is the post-visit phase. This phase is all about the findings now that you're done with the field research. The first step is about analyzing the information and data based on the analysis plan identified in the research plan. This is where you get to test the research hypothesis and possibly identify patterns, causal relationships, associations, to name a few. The second step is about organizing information according to each research question. And the final step of the entire research process is about identifying the most effective way of communicating the findings and producing it in a holistic manner.